He's got the cough. Welcome everybody to Crossing the Streams, episode 105, where we answer the universal question, what should I be binge watching next? I just finished something and now I gotta watch something else. Well, you've come to the right place. We have over 100,000 hours of video watching experience just ready for you. We got a loaded guest roster for you today. We got Tony Berardo, Zach, Ant Wiseman, and Mick Manhattan. But first, we gotta do the theme song. Tony, everyone here has done it a million times. So we're Tony, kick us off.
Here's the story of some lonely fellows who spent way too much time watching the TV. All of them have jobs and friends. Well, not really. Just between you and me.
Zach.
They made a live show out of their hobby. Every TV watcher's TV watching dream. Jeff and Sal and Rob and Ron and Howard and Mick and Zach and happy birthday, Lee. They call it Crossing Streams.
Yeah, Mick, take it home.
And then one day, you son of a... And then one day, they went live on all the platforms. You could hear the people laugh and shout and scream.
Screaming they were.
Still can't find another word that rhymes with platform. But man, we cross the streams.
We cross the streams.
We cross those streams.
That's
the way we do it here. Happy birthday, Lee.
Hey, is Lee here? Is Lee here? We got Lee here. Lee,
I hope she's here.
It was Lee's birthday a few days ago.
Happy birthday, Lee.
Happy birthday, girl.
Happy birthday to Lee. This is all for you.
Wow.
It's literally it's the only. Oh, are we singing this?
I was gonna watch it. Here, watch this.
Oh,
wait, what? There we go. Boom.
Wow.
Yeah.
No,
Don't
this will be the one night she doesn't watch.
No, she's there. She's there. Happy birthday to you. Okay.
Happy birthday to you. There she is.
Won't shut up till you skip around the room. Skip around.
Remember, happy birthday. Remember when COVID first hit, the CDC guidelines were to wash your hands, and people actually said, well, how long do I wash my hands? And they said, for as long as it takes to sing happy birthday. Right. And then the whole country, and then you had the Marjorie Taylor Greens going, do I have to do the how old are you part? And that's why we're all going to die right there.
That's the reason.
I do remember washing my hands so much.
Yeah.
That my hands, I think everyone did this. Your hands got all.
I didn't do it.
I was that I wore like 5 gloves, and if I did anything, I just like rubber band shot gloves off, like at the bank. If I did anything, it's like just gloves off. These are sterile gloves. I'm out of here.
Love it.
So the Grammys were on, and I have to say, I kind of went viral, guys.
Yeah, you did.
Wow.
Yeah, you did.
You know, I've seen this tweet on every social media except Twitter, which is funny. I've seen it on Facebook. I think I've seen it on Instagram. I've seen it on Twitch. I've seen it everywhere, but I cannot find it on Twitter. It is it's
weird.
It's above my level.
You need to promote that. You need to pay to promote that even more, Jeff.
Yeah.
Spend a couple hundo and just promote that shit. Let it go even more viral.
Let that thing ride out. It's going great.
Let's get it.
It has over 500,000 views, which is crazy.
It is.
That's ridiculous.
It's pretty insane. It was fun. It was in the BBC picked it up. Entertainment Tonight.
Yeah, very nice.
You were saying,
would you mind walking us through the steps of how you came up with that, though? Like, that's a pretty solid joke, though, Jeff.
Yeah.
Well, I will say that it's kind of funny. Another woman wrote something like, "Oh, it's like Ben Affleck at his wife's thingy or whatever," right? And so my wife's like, "Someone wrote the same thing as you did." And so I was like, "What?" And we looked at the time.
There you go.
We both wrote it at exactly
Wow.
8:58.
Whoa.
Exactly. We both
Wow.
wrote we
Wow.
worded it differently, but it's one of those things, like, and Bob can attest to this. Like, sometimes the best jokes like that are because you see yourself in it. And
Yeah.
so it's not so much I wrote the joke. I saw myself as Ben Affleck at that
Yes.
moment.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, that's every guy at any event he doesn't want to be at. And so, it was
That was a
his,
good one.
and so
Very
it was-
good.
it was
Great
just
job,
one of
buddy. Now is the time to go hard with some content and some tweets. Hope you're putting out like 5 a day. Just fucking shove
Remember the glory days? If Twitter is so frustrating now. 5 years ago, when you
Now
and
it
I
is?
were obsessed with it, that tweet would have gotten what did it get? 600 retweets? It'd be 6,000 retweets back then.
Yeah, Tony's acting like that's the first time I've ever gone viral. You might
Yeah.
want to search Jeff Dwoskin and Google and hit
Why
news.
do you think I come on the show, buddy? I know you're famous. I do it for the exposure to be on this
I
incredible
will admit,
platform.
this is the first time. It's been a while. It's been a while since something like that kind of really blew up. But
Jeff, I was watching a movie the other day, and then you came to mind because it had Leslie Nielsen in it, and he called himself the Big Mocker. And I immediately I was like, oh, is that where Jeff got that from? And I had to do some like Googling, and I don't really know where the origin of your name is, but I hope it's from the 70s wildlife Leslie Nielsen movie where he's just kind of a badass.
Oh, Day of the Animal.
Yeah.
That's a
The
crazy.
hot shot. Yeah, the hot shot.
it actually isn't. But what Big Macher is Yiddish for big shot. So Big Macher is kind of like ATM.
I was just looking it up. Yes.
It's
That's cool.
like when people say ATM machine, but the M really means machine. So you're saying ATM machine. The Big Macher is really big Macher, but it doesn't, that, it's just how it plays out. So Macher is Yiddish for big shot. When I had an internet company in the late 90s, my co-founder used to call me Big Macher. And so when I signed up for Twitter, I signed up as Big Macher. I didn't use Twitter then for 6 years, I don't think. But that's actually where it came from. Scott Siegel would call it to me. So.
And it's just fun to say. So I mean
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
When I heard Leslie Nielsen say, I was like, oh, this is a funny person saying it, so it must be a good joke. And then I saw your tweet blow up. I'm like, oh, things are lining up now. I get it. Now I get it.
It's all coming together. So we have a fun show. But I do want to say, like, before we get into the shows that we're going to cover, I've been watching some of the shows that are kind of in progress that I think everyone should be watching. And you guys can add to this list is The Last of Us is freaking unbelievable. I know I never played the video game. I'm not familiar with the video game at all. But as a standalone, I'm blown away. I think it's really, really cool. Kind of new zombie movie. HBO has done it again. And I got to say, I'm caught up with Yellowstone, and I started watching. I know this is this season's in full, but I'm not reviewing it or anything right now. But 1883 is freaking insane.
Right?
I'm like loving 1883. So good. So
is
really-
that? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mick.
Oh, I was just gonna say I'm really liking 1923 too.
Yeah, I can't wait. I want to get through 1883, and then Taylor Sheridan, because Tucson King. What is it?
Tucson.
Tulsa
King.
Tulsa King. Tulsa King was freaking amazing too.
Oh,
This
I love
Tyler Sheridan is like, it's funny how there's always somebody, like it's David E. Kelly, Shonda Rhimes. There's always like somebody that kind of comes up and has every one of the shows. But he's amazing, Tyler Sheridan. And then Tony, what you're watching on Apple?
Yeah, I really like Shrinking. I'm a little upset that I binged so much because I think there's an episode coming out Friday. But yeah, just a great show. I'm super impressed. Very, in my opinion, I think it's a little bit of a dark comedy, but it creeps up on you, and then boom, it's not a dark comedy anymore. Like episode 1, I was kind of like, okay, it's going to be more like what's that series with Paul Rudd where he was cloning himself?
Oh,
It was like, you know
I
what I'm talking about?
I never saw
yeah,
it.
Yeah, which it was
What's it
okay, but
called?
it was kind of like dark. It was dark comedy. I was like, it's gonna be like that. That's cool. And then like episode 2, it started getting really, really funny once it started breaking out. And then episode 3, and now I'm just like, it's hysterical. Like it's a really, really good show. The writing's great. The storyline's great. I love the conflicts and the arcs that all the characters are going through. And you don't see anything like that. There's a couple series specifically with like Will Ferrell. He had a Shrink movie Shrink series come out with Paul Rudd as well. That was a little bit more dark. So there's been a lot of like these Shrink things, and this is unlike I've ever seen. So I'm very impressed with it. So far.
I'm caught up with it too and watching it. It's amazing. Harrison Ford's great. Jason Segel, I love, but the whole cast is great. And
So-
Jerry put up this thing about Pedro Pascal.
Interesting.
But let me say also, I'll add to that, his Saturday Night Live that he was just on was probably one of the funniest episodes in forever.
His Mario was perfect.
Yeah, that's funny.
It's ridiculous.
When he wakes up from a coma and he talks like he's from LA, and they're all doing this voice. I mean, it was so funny. So
He's
funny.
great, man. Pedro's great.
It really is. Nothing was funnier to me in the last year than that scene in the Nick Cage. Was it? I just want to say being Nicolas Cage. It wasn't. What the hell was it? Him and
Pedro, yeah.
Ron Lippett, by the way, is in India right now. So
Hey, Ronald.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ron.
Hey, what's happening?
Yeah,
I love
Ron.
that scene where they're trying to climb that wall, and they're high, and then they realize they don't. All they got to do is just go around it, and they're saying their goodbyes. I love you. I don't know why. That was so well put
It's
together.
So amazing.
Pedro has that cool way of just feeling like he's your friend. Like when you watch him, it's like that's just a dude who's like walking his dog. He's such a great actor. And yeah, when it comes like the shows, he kills it. His movies, yeah, the Nick Cage one, yeah, but Wonder Woman not so good.
But he was good. He was good in it, though.
I mean, I guess.
I guess. Yeah, I guess.
guess.
All right, let's stop guessing and move on.
Yeah.
To I aspire to be a radio disc jockey. The episode 104. This is episode 105. So we have right now 104 hours and 12 minutes streaming on YouTube. Last week we talked about the 90s show, Chance, Ghost Story, Night Court, the reboot, and Dope Sick. We even had a special pop-in guest from James Healy Jr., who was in Dope Sick. But today, oh man, Cunk on Earth, Unsolved Mysteries, Paranormal Rangers. Bob is to Unsolved Mysteries, is to what Sal is to rom-coms. We have You People and Poker Face. So it's quite a collection.
Diverse.
Quite.
Can I ask who reviewed Ghost Story last week? Because I loved that movie.
Oh, I thought it was you. Was it Ron?
It must have been Ron. I was away. I was not on. Look, you didn't even know when I'm on or I'm not.
Yeah, I think it was.
Oh, there you go, Ron. Yeah,
it's definitely Ron.
I love that.
Wait, what'd you guys think of that 90s show? Because I'm not gonna lie, it was slightly better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I think so too.
Marcy reviewed it. She liked it. She liked it.
I've never liked Topher Grace more. I've never loved Ashton Kutcher as much. It's a real sitcom, and you don't get those anymore.
Yeah,
especially on Netflix.
Yeah.
And no one's happier than Topher Grace that they made that show, because dude was going nowhere.
He had quite a thing going, and then
he does. You know the weird thing about Topher Grace, he does his own Star Wars edits. Like if he has a YouTube channel where he will edit the Star Warses the way that he thinks that it should be told, and they're like legit from a fan point of view, and not like this is Topher Grace doing it. He's an interesting nerd, and
but he settled down after he won his Oscar for Win a Date with Tad Hamilton. So I mean, he's just kind of chilling. So that 90 show is just a nice visit.
Spider-Man 3.
Let's chill. I'm gonna Wah, wah, wah. Let's talk about Poker Face. This is on Peacock, and we're going to turn it over to. We're going to let Mick do lead off.
All right, first to go, first to bed. All right, so guys, I'm watching Poker Face on Peacock, and I gotta say I'm falling in love with it. Scratching that itch because I love the Ryan Johnson murder mysteries, and Glass Onion left me with more of an itch after I watched it. I'm like, I want to see more like this. I want to watch more murder mysteries. Poker Face is filling that gap because it is such a great show. It stars Natasha Lyonne as Charlie Cale, who just has an ability to call BS on any lie that she sees or witnesses, or somebody tells her, and she's always right. And they test this theory. After the first episode, I don't want to give too much away because they are murder mysteries, but after the first episode, she finds herself having to go on the run, and it becomes a road trip show where each episode that follows, it starts out telling the story of the murder that occurs, and then kind of rewinds and shows it from Charlie's perspective. You didn't even know she was there the entire time. And then she solves the mysteries. They change up their style. Ryan Johnson is writing them. He directed the first 2 episodes, I believe. I might be wrong on that, but definitely the first one. And then each episode after is very stylized. Like the most recent 5th episode was very Tarantino 70s era-esque.
Nice.
Telling that tale. Yeah, it's very cool looking. But the episode before that was had kind of more of a Western vibe because it took place in Texas, and just kind of how it played out. It was really well done. They get a lot of stars showing up for it, and it's just been a great time watching it so far.
Who's the lead actress on that again?
Natasha Lyonne.
That's right. Okay.
She's sort of having a resurgence. Is that fair to say? She had didn't she have
Russian
some
Doll was good too.
Russian Doll, but like she was just on Saturday Night Live. It's like she's pretty awesome.
She came back from some hard times, some drug addiction, and
Blade
taking a walk
2.
on the wild side. Yeah. So
Blade 3.
whatever that was, but she was not in good shape. It's good to see her getting her life together.
She always, to me, they always pick interesting roles, and they do a very good job. I mean, even as a blind person in the Blade universe, I was like, oh, cool. And Natasha Lyonne, I think they're always doing a good job. And honestly, I am such a Ryan Johnson fan. I'm one of the few people that will fight for Last Jedi. I love all of his work, and the show's really, really good. It's cool to see like a new Columbo now.
Yeah, it's been great.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so Ryan. Oh, that's right, Ryan Johnson, the guy who ruined Star Wars. I forgot.
He was one of several.
I'm kidding, Zach. Okay, so I watched the first episode, and the first episode was, I will say, amazing. And I will say I went into this having absolutely no idea what this show was at all, other than I knew she could tell if people lied or not, right? Mm-hmm. So the first episode almost kind of doesn't encapsulate itself, but it sends the series in a, like I haven't got to episode 2 yet because I had no idea where this show was even going. Like I had the idea of it becoming a road show. I mean, I know she goes, she's on the run and all that kind of stuff, which I don't think, but like, I couldn't figure out what the show was going to be. It wasn't, it's just kind of a week to week mystery thing. And then I think whatever the episode, the stuff that we won't say happens in the first episode, I'm guessing then threads through and at least makes an appearance every now and then.
I will say this, the one thing that I really like about it is you see her go through something and meet somebody who teaches her something along the way. And not only does that go on to help her later in the mystery, but it carries over into other episodes. You'll see her closing up a car with super glue she learned from a trucker. But the next time she encounters somebody who gets hurt, she has the super glue. So it ties every episode in together and it shows she's learning on the road.
Yeah. And it's clever the way they tell you like who the killer is right off the bat. Like there's really no question, which is cool because when you think back to that old Hitchcock thing, it's like if you have two people sitting at like a booth and like they have a whole dinner, and then at the end you tell them there was a bomb under the table, it's not that impactful. But if you tell them before they sit down there's a bomb under the table, then the whole time you're curious like what's happening. And it's kind of the same thing with this show where like who the killer is. So it's more like almost a backwards kind of thing of like how are they going to get caught, how is she going to figure this one out or solve it. So it's interesting.
I agree. I love the style of know who it is and then make the writer and the story work up to it. I like that a lot. So all right,
I have
Ryan,
not seen it. You guys sold me on it though, so thank you.
Have you seen The Glass Onions?
Yeah.
he's nonplussed by it.
Dude, Edward Norton's one of my favorites, but that was disappointing to me.
You are incredibly wrong. That movie is so smart and so good. And I will fight.
No. Hold on.
Yeah.
You're telling me that was better than the first one? Because that's what I'm comparing it to.
Well, you didn't say that it was.
Because you interrupted me.
It
Jack,
is still
not surprisingly.
Ooh, cat fight.
I'm saying,
go boys.
I mean, if you're talking about Ed Norton, you're obviously not talking about the first one. That's all I'm saying.
Well, dude, is that his best film?
I think Ed Norton excels
American
at
History
being
X's.
pretty much Ed Norton in every film.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't say it was a bad movie. I just said I was disappointed. It was Edward Norton. I go in thinking it was going to be the greatest thing ever because I love Glass Onion. I love Norton, and it was an all-star cast. But I was like,
watching the choices Edward Norton makes while trying to be a smart idiot is incredible. Like him playing that guitar the wrong hand is so cool, and then throwing it in the sand. Him playing Blackbird, which is about taking something from the black community, and everything about that was good.
Well, just the ending alone summarized his entire character beautifully. Where, I mean, spoiler alert, it was just like that was the epitome of every billionaire that we think and what they are. I mean, he did a great job with that. But yeah, the whole movie, it was like the first one I loved so much, and I think I just went in with high hopes. But it was good. It was good.
I enjoyed Glass Onion a lot, and I thought the brilliance of Ed Norton's parody was that was filmed at least a year ago, and it matched up exactly
perfectly
to the time. All right. Well, speaking of matching up right to the time, let's talk about Cunk on Earth. This I'm excited to hear all about. Zach, take it away.
only come on a show to fight people. I don't even know what I think anymore. I'm going to start this review off with a quote. And the quote is, "Insanity has limits, but stupidity has none." And that's by Elbert Hubbard. This show, to me, really caught me off guard. I'm a fan of comedy. I'm a fan of weird shows. I'm even a fan of documentaries. So when I saw that Netflix put out a new mockumentary, I was all over it. I love the idea of mockumentaries. I like spoofing things. I like when people can pull off deadpan satirical humor in an intelligent way and make other people look stupid with their own words. That, to me, is priceless comedy. Now, this follows Philomena Cunk as she comically tells the story of the greatest inventions and asks experts hard-hitting questions about humanity's progress. Now, obviously, Philomena Cunk is not a real person, played by Diane Morgan, but this character was designed. So in 2013, there was a show called Charlie Booker's Weekly Wipe, and it was actually written by the guy who created Black Mirror. And Diane Morgan was a writer and a comedian on there, and they came up with this character, Philomena Cunk. And what they wanted to do was to go at things with a, quote, open mind and inane questions. So Cunk, who plays it as though they are David Attenborough. So they pull off that kind of mode while they're talking to people, and they do this mockumentary, history of the planet, species, the culture. Attenborough obviously would come across as deeply intelligent and thoughtful, but you won't realize that Cunk is purposely trying to sound stupid to make the person who's talking to them explain things to make themselves ironically look even foolish. And it is so well done. They ask questions like, was early man made out of the same sort of meat as us, or did it have a brand name like beef or pork? And having people that like really, study the Bible, having them trying to figure out how to answer that question. And obviously, like, it borders on the edge of being too awkward. But to me, it's deeply amusing, and I love looking at academia through a foolish kind of eye, and I'm super into that. So yeah, Charlie Booker's Weekly Wipe is where the show started, or this character started. They've had shows, Cunk on Shakespeare, Cunk on Britain, Cunk on other humans, and then this is their newest one, which is Cunk on Earth. It's fantastic. There are 5 episodes. They're only half an hour long, so they're super, super quick. And it's like, if you remember Ali G, when Ali G first came out, and how he would ask people questions, and you couldn't tell if he was joking or not, because you've never seen that style of humor before. It brings all that back, where people don't want to be asked questions from a white woman like that, so they kind of skirt around things and sound kind of goofy. But Cunk never breaks. So deadpan, so beautifully well played. I love it. I've watched every episode twice now, and it is so good, because I love Ellie G.
Is it real people that she's interviewing?
It's real people, and some behind the scenes let them know, like, hey, she is going to be telling jokes, so they kind of understand that it's a joke interview, but she does interview actual academia, and real people, and they try to answer seriously.
I love how hard the interview subjects work to give her something, because she's so stupid. Yes, so she's uncomfortable to watch. Yeah, I mean, she's a brilliant comedian, but the questions are just so achingly stupid. And you watch, the fun for me is watching these people try to she can't be this dumb, and to try and give a serious answer, and she just twists it and blows it up in their faces. I love it.
Yeah, it's so clever the way it's done, because it's just kind of people just being flustered and almost making fun of themselves. And the second it came on, I'm like, oh, this is the new Ali G, and that's exactly what I was looking for, because comedy, it's so TikTok, it's just it's consumable stuff. You just watch it and you kind of forget about it. You watch it and you forget about it. This is one of those things that kind of sticks with you because it's slightly different than what you're just gobbling down. Love it.
Nice. Yeah, it kind of looked like, originally it looked like Religulous, which is like one of my favorite documentaries.
I mean, they kind of go through that a little bit, but in a funny way, and it is a mockumentary, 100%.
That's cool.
Nice.
Okay.
They're a good example of TikTok. A lot of, like I mentioned in the pre-show, I discovered her on TikTok. I'd never heard of this before. I'm not even sure I realized it was on Netflix. So I'm going to have to actually watch the show.
Yeah.
But I would watch her clips. I mean, the way she delivers, I mean, is straight lace as like you can be, and like saying the most ridiculous things. It's so funny.
Great. She actually has a great, she's done a lot of stuff with Ricky Gervais. And there's, what's that fucking show? It's a UK show. I think it's called Episodes.
Extras?
Yeah.
Extras. Thank you. Loved it. She's amazing. That's when I first saw her. That
show is too funny.
It's the best. I love that show.
Which one was
anything Ricky Gervais does? Is
one?
No, that was the Ricky Gervais one where they're extras.
No. I got it wrong when he said. Oh, like that's it. And then I was like, oh wait, no, isn't Episodes like something? So I was just checking with you guys.
Extras. That's great. Like you could rewatch that. That's fantastic. And the fact that you think about the cameos that they did with the actors, this was like back in, I think it was like 99 or something. They did that show.
Yeah, Harry Potter had just started, because I remember he was on one episode, but the one where Orlando Bloom kept telling people that he was the cutest and you should kiss him because he's the cute. That is the funniest episode. I love it. So fun.
That's worth the watch if you guys haven't seen that. That's great.
Yeah, for real.
Extra. All right, cool. All right, 2 great suggestions. You need to see the new feature in StreamYard. You put the little thing under the name.
Yeah, I just saw it. I don't like it. It's just, it's too much stuff. Like I'm, like
I can't see your face, Zach. Yeah,
I know. It's like, how are you going to see my Airbud VHS tapes and my name and my company and my Batman pictures and whatever. But Last of Us, talking about that, I play those games. I play them constantly. Like once the show started, I replayed 1, and I'm actually currently playing 2 with my partner right now. And it's so like
Shot for
clever.
shot.
It's so clever the way they adapt it, make it better, like adapt almost the entire story. There you get shot for shot, you get verbatim lines, which works so well, but then you get and the one thing that no video game adaptation has ever done is try to make you understand other characters. It's, here's Sonic, here's the Eggman, here's whatever, or here's Tomb Raider, and here's Lara Croft. But that Frank episode. Now, for those who haven't played the game, Frank and Bill, Bill and Frank. So that is maybe 10 minutes of the game. You meet this old curmudgeon dude. He helps you through this little thing, and then you end up finding his partner who had hanged himself. And it's like, you're a son of a bitch. I never liked you to begin with. That's why I killed myself, because of you. And so when that show was coming on, then that like Nick Offerman's playing that character. It's like, oh man, this is going to be so crazy. And then they give you that beautiful storyline where they subvert like what the game players are expecting, but also giving you such a beautiful, like well done and well written storyline that just adds, it just adds that flavor to that beautiful stew.
Yeah.
Really
Zach is talking about episode 3 of The Last of Us. It's an extra long episode. It's like an hour and 16 minutes, and it plays like an entire movie. It's like that satisfying.
So good.
It's like you could almost watch that episode alone. I mean, don't watch the whole thing.
Well, that's actually how I got my daughter to watch. I was like, hey, watch this one episode and tell me if you like this feel, because she's never played the game. Apparently there's like a 3-hour director's cut of that episode, and I would love to watch that. But
I would watch an entire spinoff on like the entire thing, because the whole thing's like 20 years. Yeah. So I'd love to see a whole series of just how that 20 years plays out.
I mean, like two broken people finally finding love in like a broken world, and then just trying to just make each other smile. That is the best thing that you can possibly think of, and I love it.
And the fact, by the way, let's all mention this, because here's the elephant in the room. The fact that the world is so fucked up now, excuse my language, Jeff, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting. That it's so messed up, the world, when we as a population, like humanity itself, every single continent, every single person, there is still a portion of people that think that episode was garbage. And that to me is like, what are the memes that are going around and the ball busting that's going on? That's
so stupid.
Those
should
people
agree
should be
on
killed.
only one thing. Yeah.
I saw somebody say like, "Oh, Last of Us is now it's just a gay." The game has been the gay. Game 1 was gay. Ellie was gay in the first game. Bill was gay in the game. Like those characters are those characters. Whatever.
I would have said it was woke if like they were both transgender. Then I would have been like, all right, guys, we're crossing the line now. But
if that's what the game was.
Yeah, if that's what the game is. But it adapted exactly to the game, and it did it beautifully and made it way better, to your point. So it's like, it was just fantastic. But,
All right. Speaking of maybe fantastic, we don't know yet, because we're going to talk about you people. Tony, take it away.
Today on Crossing the Streams, we're talking you people. So who's seen this? Show of hands. Okay. And I'd love to know your opinion on this. So, problem with this movie, there's a lot of problems with this movie. But the problem with this movie is, again, I went into it with high hopes. I'm thinking like, meet the parents. It's going to be a great opportunity for like, because I love Jonah Hill. I think he's a great actor, probably very underrated. I think the roles he picks are very smart, and he's very good at changing characters and his arcs, and he's very believable in a lot of things. And then you go into this thing, and the first like 30 minutes I'm sold, because Julia Louis-Dreyfus makes this movie, I think. I think she was probably the best thing in this. That if I took the entire movie and said, what's one thing if I could pick, it wouldn't be Jonah Hill, which I thought it was going to be. It wouldn't be Eddie Murphy, which I really thought it was going to be. It was her. But there was also some times in the writing that I just didn't really buy into every single scene. And it was kind of hard to swallow some scenes. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about, where it was so good. Like I love the part where they got out of, it was Jonah Hill, and I forget when it was, but they got out of church, I think, right? Or maybe it was.
It's towards the beginning, right?
Yeah, it was towards the beginning. And then when he walked out afterwards, that interaction of him, you know, running up to family members, and I think maybe the priest and a bunch of other people, and then Julia Louis-Dreyfus was in it. That whole interaction was great. It was a great setting. I thought the movie was going to have like an awesome lift, and then it started getting a little weird when their interaction between Jonah Hill and I forget her name, Lauren. What's her name?
Lauren Loudon or something like that.
Yeah, the actress. They just weren't, aside from the Uber ride when he hops in the car with her, that was adorable. That meet cute was fantastic. But then after that, it wasn't believable. I didn't like them as a couple. I think she even went off saying that they didn't really like the chemistry. Now there's this whole like CGI kiss that's going on. So like after the fact the movie came out, just the chemistry, the rest of the movie didn't work. And then the last thing I'll say, the criticism with this movie is you bring on a mega giant like Eddie Murphy, and if you write this screenplay and you cast Eddie Murphy, let's say you thought it was going to be Chris Tucker. Okay. But the fact that you got Eddie Murphy, now you got it. Now you wait. Now you postpone production and you rewrite that entire movie, giving Eddie Murphy the lines that he deserves and writing him in as as the comedy genius that he is versus like the grumpy old dad, because the entire movie, that's all he was. Even De Niro in Meet the Parents did a fantastic job of throwing in comedy because it was just written beautifully. And I just feel like they dropped the ball in so many instances. And I was just overall very disappointed. I think Rotten Tomatoes gave it 50%. Audience score was 50%. I think that's pretty generous, but it's on par. It's worth seeing because there is some good one-liners in there. I enjoyed some parts of it, but as a movie as a whole, it was very disappointing. So,
yeah, I got to agree with you. It was very dicey for me because even a lot of the character decisions at different points seemed very off. Yeah. Like it's completely changing to who we were building up to the entire time.
Like David Duchovny, what are you doing?
Yeah,
that was
that was like it just keep repeating, and it's like, why are you keep this joke going?
Yeah, it was literally just one long joke. I mean, Julie Louis-Dreyfus, honestly, she was trying to me too hard, and everything was just like, I'm a woke mom. I know what transgender is. And then Eddie Murphy's like, I don't like white people dating my daughter. And like, that was the entire movie. And to me, the best part, unfortunately, was Jonah Hill's reflection of the bad acting and the bad lines that he had to go against. But yeah, that movie was just, it felt like it was like 2007. It felt so dated. Like it was just, it's like, yeah, white people do this and black people do this. Like we get it, we get it.
They just had such a cool opportunity, I think,
Lee
to like
was unimpressed
to really like
David
break the barriers and
really just somebody just shoot him. Like that was so what a pointless character in that.
Wow.
Like, oh God, awful.
It was horrible. Yeah. But I mean, there was some, like, if I had to like watch clips of it, and you could probably grab like 10 decent clips to where it's like laughable. There's some moments in there that are laughable, but the whole movie was just. And did you hear about the kiss, the CGI kiss?
Yeah.
Oh, Google that when you get some time.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah, apparently, like if you rewatch the movie, which I had to watch the ending of it because Andrew Schultz ended up saying that he was at the movie and they didn't kiss. They just stopped rolling, and turns out in post-production they CGI'd in a kiss. So now like CNN's on it and everyone's on it.
Is it as bad as The Baby and American Sniper? Is it that
worse?
I thought you were going to say Twilight.
I thought you were going to say Henry Cavill's mustache.
Yeah, that was bad too.
That was rough.
The thing about You People to me was the fact that his podcast career just really took off in 3 months. Like,
yeah, no shit.
For real.
I will say though, side note on that, it is fascinating how like there's a lot of shows that are just adopting podcasting. It's cool to see. As a podcaster, I'm
they're so successful, like immediately. It's like, I got a podcast where I talk about true crime and I'm the most successful one ever. I can't take days off. It's like, what? Have you tried making a podcast?
And they're friends with you.
If you do have a podcast, remember, submissions are still open until February 10th for the Snobby Awards.
There you go. I got to say, with You People, I was the Jewish person in me. I'm always a little turned off when they kind of position Louis Farrakhan as a positive thing, like where,
Yeah.
and like Eddie Murphy, like they had some kind of clip, and I was just like, ugh, I don't,
Yeah.
couldn't even imagine. Like that to me is like, anyway.
And that was only a way to lead up to, when they stomped his
The fire
antlers.
hat, yeah.
Yeah, that was the only way. But yeah, it was
Not good.
hard to watch, man. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate. What a killer
And
cast.
I love Jonah Hill.
I
Like
love
I even
Jonah Hill's
I even
amazing.
text Jeff. I was like, watch Stutz on Netflix because
Dude.
that was beautiful. Like I've never like bawled so hard at Jonah Hill.
Fire.
Learned some
Yeah, that
stuff.
was
But
good.
yeah, Jonah's great. Even Maniac was great. But this was just so expected and so. Ugh.
Jonah's brilliant in the Wolf of Wall Street. He's great in the one
Yes.
where they're
Yeah,
selling
he's great in that.
arms.
Yeah, American
Yeah.
Hustle.
Mhm.
Well, American Hustle too. But what's the one with the
Oh.
guy who was in Fantastic
Oh, War
Four?
Dogs.
War
War
Dogs.
Dogs.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
he's
love
really
that
good.
one. He's
Dude,
I mean,
he's
even
just-
Moneyball. Like he's
Yeah.
great.
oh,
in
Moneyball.
everything.
He's amazing.
Yes, very
But this is-
subdued.
I mean,
I
he's
like
been
that.
nominated for an Academy Award at least
Yeah.
twice, right? I mean,
Yeah, but just this movie was just such a. Ugh.
And
You
he
know?
wrote it too.
Yeah.
Very
It
unfortunate.
was annoying.
Yeah.
it was
But
annoying.
dude,
Well-
watch Stutz though. That's
Oh, yeah,
that's
for real.
probably one of my favorite docs that I've
Yeah,
seen this year.
watch
Yes,
Stutz. It'll make you a better human.
for
all right,
sure.
well, you know what else will make you a better human? Unsolved Mysteries, Paranormal Rangers. Bob,
You know what? I get this out. I have to get this out of my head. That baby scene in American Sniper. I just because that I love that movie, and I remember watching it in the theater going, "That's a fucking doll. He's holding the fucking," and they don't even make the least attempt to conceal that it's a doll. And every time I've seen it since, I picture Bradley Cooper, he's got this doll and he feels like an idiot. He feels stupid because he's like, oh, at least trying to like it's got some heft and some weight to it. And he's like, Clint, do I really have to? And Clint's off camera going, just hold the fucking baby. And Bradley Cooper's like, my career is going to die. Anyway. All right. So I had to get off the
Favorite
So,
rant of the week.
I love Unsolved Mysteries. I love this. I love these. This is the third season of it, and I have to explain. It's not like the old Robert Stack, where he's there in the corner and he's everything is dramatic. The reason I like the way they produce the show and write the show is that it's tonally it's perfect because it just there's a respect for suspected victims, vanished persons, respect for a sort of a reverence, really, for people that have met foul play and they don't know how they were killed, and they have respect for the parents and the family. So I appreciate that. It's not a true crime. It's kind of true crime, but not. But this one here, and I knew this was going to happen at some point because they start plumbing the country for mysteries, right? That have some weight to them, that have some heft and some interesting hooks to them. Eventually, they get around to some paranormal bullshit, and this is the one. And this is just a filler. It's the worst episode. It's so stupid. It's so pandering. It's for the QAnon Bigfoot fucking MAGA hat idiots out there, and I can't tell you how disappointed I am because it starts off like there's going to be a real human story to this, and it's because it's about two guys who formed or were appointed to and formed this the Navajo Rangers like 20 years ago, and they and others have a very somber duty to patrol a 27,000 square mile area of like Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah, and it's the Navajo reservation out there, and somehow these guys just went way off, and now they're investigating paranormal. Paranormal to me is just like bullshit. It's synonymous with bullshit, and this is so stupid. The linchpin in this episode is that they found that Bigfoot sightings go up in exact proportion to UFO sightings in this area of the country.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay. And then they draw this parallel. They go, oh, well, that's because Bigfoots are aliens. This is the big, You know, the thread running through this stupid thing, and these people are setting up trail cameras, and there's some, you know, I mean, I have trail cameras on this property I have up north. I can see a deer at 4 a.m. clear as day. I know it's a deer. If there's 12 of them, I can see all their antlers, their eyes. But these people, all they get is these black blobs, you know, falling around. They have no idea what they are. They call them shapeshifters and skinwalkers and all this fucking horseshit. And it just goes on and on to the point where you're incredulous 5 minutes in, but then they want you to believe that these are aliens. Like Bigfoots are aliens, and they've traveled from some, you know, who knows how far. They've mastered warp drive and have come here from another galaxy. And yet there's a woman who lives in a trailer, and her doorknob saved her because they couldn't negotiate, you know, turning the knob on the door. It just goes on and on with this thing. And I got so disgusted with it. I turned it off with 10 minutes left. So I can't even tell you the ending. Who cares? Don't watch it. It's terrible.
Well, Bob, you have to understand that when you get to a certain level of intelligence, just mediocre things like doorknobs don't. My daughter cannot understand how to work a VHS tape. Like, she looks at it and she does not understand it. Like, she doesn't know there's a rewind button. So you got to think, when you're that far advanced, what is rudimentary like a doorknob? I don't know how to use doorknobs.
All true, except these are 9.5 feet tall beings who apparently punched holes in another trailer, but couldn't punch this door down at trying to get at this woman. Anyway, so I just it's so obviously filler to you know, fill the number of episodes. 10. Okay, that's the 10th episode. Netflix, we're out. We gotta get some more ideas. So don't watch.
But you'd think that the 10 they wouldn't have to do filler. Isn't that the whole idea of doing 8
Maybe
episodes?
it's 10. I don't know.
Like,
Yeah.
if you remember,
But I'm just saying, not 24.
Right, exactly. Yes.
But if you remember, like, the old ones though, like, did anyone watch the old, like,
yes.
Oh yeah.
I watched all the time.
Does any stand out in your brain? What story stands out in your brain? Do any?
DB Cooper. I mean, that was a national story
For some reason,
years ago.
The one that stands out in my brain is this mysterious man that came to this church and built a spiral staircase and then left once the staircase is done. And that to me was the scariest thing that, you know, Robert Stack could tell me. So now that you're telling me that they're back to paranormal stuff, I have to go watch this show again.
Well, watch that one, and I hate to tell you, you'll be bored to tears.
Spoiler.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
Very opinionated tonight. I'm sorry for the swears. I'm not sorry. I'm sorry. That show deserves all the degradation I can heap on it. But I'm sorry to our viewers that I dropped F-bombs.
We give it 1/2 a Sal job.
Yeah.
But in all fairness, the Delaware episode of Unsolved Mysteries, the non-paranormal Rangers, was good.
Quite good. Everything on that is.
Is it really called Paranormal Rangers?
Paranormal Rangers, yeah.
I thought it was a joke.
No, it's for real. So stupid.
The Tone Rangers.
Well,
good things.
all right. Well, what else we got? Anybody else random stuff?
I tell you, if people for some reason are saying to themselves, I have not seen enough shirtless, gorgeous men. If you've ever thought to yourself that recently within the last week or two, and you're not a Berardo, there's this show that popped up on Netflix called Physical 100. And what is
Physical 100?
Physical 100.
Okay.
And it's a South Korean show where it takes the people that think they have the most fit body there, right? And they just show up, and it's 100 people, and they have to the first thing they do is find themselves by the cast of their chest. So they have to walk into a room and say, oh, that's my chest over there. And then everyone walks in and go, wow, that's a good looking chest. I mean, there's even just bodybuilding women, there's beautiful, just huge people, and just muscular, Koreans. And it's 100 of them. And the very first challenge is they have to just hold a bar for as long as you can. Just hold a bar, and then you drop. And then the next challenge is you run out here and you grab a ball, and then somebody has to take the ball away from you. And the bodies that these people possess, the amount of work that they put into this thing, there's a Olympic bobsledders, there's like skeleton runners, there's MMA fighters, there's bodybuilders, but these are the most gorgeous people I've ever seen, and their bodies are just stunning. Now look, Mick, we're about the same thing, right? All about fitness, all about the squats,
Fitness
the lats.
donut. Sorry.
Okay, well that was just mean, really. That was really just rude.
That was mean?
A fitness donut.
Thanks, Tony. Never wanted
It's all
donut.
about fitness donut in this mouth.
There's a whole show going on between Tony and Zach. It's a show
okay.
within the show. It's,
I didn't say that. That was fucking Bob.
What? I was just talking about the show. I wasn't talking about anybody. in
So yeah,
particular.
so they put out 2 episodes a week, and it breaks it down. Like the first like challenge, they call it. You drop 50 people. Next challenge, you just drop another half. Next challenge, you drop another half, and they're going for whatever 500 million won is. I think it's like 50 grand. It's a lot. To them, it's a lot of money. Whatever, it's a lot of money, and they're very excited about winning it / losing it. But yeah, it is just straight competition when it comes down to physical bodies.
And
So
who
it's like
won?
it's like a physical.
It's not over
Squid
yet.
Game.
Oh,
That's
okay.
why I
Right?
couldn't talk about it this episode. Jeff wouldn't let me
Okay.
talk about it. But I tell you what, I take over the show when I'm on here sometimes, and I'm going to talk about
That's interesting. I like it.
Yeah. So it's
Physical
like
100.
It's
I
like
watched
a physical Squid Games.
It's like
Yeah.
if you watch like the challenge or you watch Survivor and you're like, oh, I
Right.
wish the competitions were harder. This is those competitions where it's like, a professional judo person and a professional MMA person, and there's just like a ball in a ring, and it's like, hey, whoever has the ball at the end of 3 minutes wins. The other person loses, and it's these guys like they don't even look at the ball. They just fight each other and they throw each other in the water and the sand and they just wrestle, and then it's like rah, and then they run for the ball, and sometimes they get it. And yeah,
Sounds
the one I
very
just watched,
arousing.
they had to push.
I'll do it, Jerry.
They had to push a 1.5 ton boat across this sand like pit. That was the last episode I watched, and I'm like, oh, I'm just too
Alright.
sweaty.
you're gonna have to come back and do a full
Yeah.
breakdown. We're
I
gonna-
watched
gonna
a
get-
video by Haircut 100, and it was
Same thing.
compelling.
Yeah.
Love +1, baby.
Let's all say happy birthday to Lee one more time.
Happy birthday,
Happy
girl.
Birthday, Lee.
We appreciate you, Lee. Always being here. All of you guys that keep coming back week after week. Thank you very much. Well, I think another fabulous episode. Tony and Zach are still standing and not killed each other, so that's good.
He
Thanks,
chose
guys.
the right movie to not like this time.
Physical-
He brought a movie I couldn't fight with, which is fine.
And next up, the Batman. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
The next
I
movie
forgot.
is
Did you not like that, Zach, the Batman?
Oh, I
I'm
love
sorry,
that.
Joe.
I-
I
was
loved
great.
it too.
Tony
It was
didn't
the,
like.
it was the no, I loved it. It was
I
the
did
only
too.
movie we agreed on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
I'm such a weirdo. I have the soundtrack, and I was listening to
great.
it this morning. I love
Great
it.
score.
Yes, I'll try.
Yeah, good workout.
Nothing plays better than Old Man playing Nirvana.
Yeah.
Classic.
Mm.
Love
All
it.
right. Well, let's say goodnight. Mick,
Thanks,
say
Jeff.
goodnight. Nick,
Hey, you mind if I plug the snobbies?
just plug anything you want, my friend.
Hey, all right, guys, check out the Scene Snobs. That's where I'm from. We have the 3rd annual Snobby Award celebrating independent podcasting. You can submit now until February 10th. You just email thescenesnobs@gmail.com and we'll get you started on it. And yeah, so appreciate you. We're also putting together another Casters for a Cause for April 14th. So we'll be doing that. It's like our 12-hour marathon. So if anybody wants to join in or help out or anything, please just let us know. We're doing it for MS Research.
Cool. Zach, tell us all about your 1,000 podcasts.
No, honestly, I'm not gonna go check out Scene Snobs. Like they, everything they do is great. Him and Casey are super enjoyable. With the everything they do, movie reviews, the awards are great. I'm a multi-winner myself. That's how I know it's a legit, real thing. I subscribe to all of Scene Snobs, so please check out the Scene Snobs. Do not look at anything that I do.
No, don't say that. Go check out
Mick, I'm gonna cuss and make Bob apologize for it. Let me plug what I want to plug.
Okay.
Bitch.
Tony,
I mean, I feel super bad about plugging my podcast, and I just want to say, go check out Scene Snobs. But also, too, you could see in this little box.
I
go-
got to say, it's confusing. Who's the host of your podcast?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
you
this
ass.
guy. It's the talking hand.
Yeah.
Some
So go
gabagool.
check out my podcast. We talk health, wellness, social media, and content creation. The Berardo podcast. You could find it everywhere you enjoy podcasts. It's
And
the
I enjoyed
largest
being a
podcast.
guest on that show. It was very, very fun.
Oh,
I've
Thank
been
you,
a
Bob.
guest too. Tony's fun to be on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys
Yeah,
are
that's
you guys are my most popular episodes.
Oh, that's
And,
nice to know.
Yeah, it's been listened over 4 times. So
Oh, excellent.
I'm
I'm
gonna,
gonna
I'm
go
gonna go
back.
listen, I'm gonna go listen to mine after. and
yeah,
give it
I
a-
only listen to shows I'm on too, so I've never heard of your podcast, Bernardo.
well, Zach, you're coming on
I'm
next.
kidding. I'm just kidding. No,
We'll
no,
talk
Bob
Batman.
Phillips, tell everyone where you're gonna be, what you've sold out.
Oh yeah, we sold out the Opera House in Traverse City, the Sal and Bob show. We at the Traverse City Traverse City Comedy Festival. It was a blissful experience. If we have more time next week, I would like to talk about it.
Yeah,
But it was
Would have
it was
loved an
great.
Invitation.
well, you'll be on next. All you got to do is submit a reel.
I don't
5
even know.
minutes.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
Traverse City Comedy Festival.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go.
You're dissing it. You don't even care what we're talking
No,
about.
no. I do. I meant an invitation to the Sal and Bob show.
Oh, you've been on it. Well, you've been on the podcast. You've been on the live show
I wanted to be on that episode.
in Traverse City at the Opera.
that would
Okay.
so I'd have a reason to go.
Well, next year you'll be on.
All right, next year we'll do it.
So
Next year we'll do Crossing the Streams live and not invite Bob. Who's with me?
yeah, you don't have to. So you can say, where am I? Saturday, I'm at Joy Manor in Westland for a Relay for Life benefit. Next Thursday, it's our monthly Sal and Bob show at Janetti's Hole in the Wall Theater in Northville.
Nice.
Amazing. I just did a
Unbelievable.
weekend of comedy at One Night Stands last
Yes.
week. That was fun.
Mhm.
And then that's it for 2023. But I will have the podcast. Sal, definitely check out the Scene Snobs. I was the big winner before Zach ever won anything, but whatever.
Not true.
And then Sal and Bob show. Check out that podcast. Check out Classic Conversations. I really love my current episode is with Howard Scott Warshaw, Atari 2600 video game designer legend, Yar's Revenge, E.T., the game. Such a fun. It's a fun. If you grew up with Atari, it's a really fun.
Have you played the ET game?
It's horrible, but that's not the point.
Have you
But-
actually played it?
Yeah,
Not
I played
looked
it.
at. Have you played it?
Yeah, I played on a simulator. I couldn't-
It is ridiculous.
It is. I played it when it came out, and I
okay,
tried to.
but Zach, I think you would really appreciate the interview because I go
Oh,
real
yeah.
deep into why it was kind of a failure. Mick probably
I'm-
listened to it. I don't know.
No,
I haven't
gonna-
listened to the episode yet. I listened to
What?
it probably
No,
tomorrow.
but it's really good. I promise. Listen to it. He's not defending ET by any means. But it's really good. It's really good.
I like the Rita Lee interview. That was really good.
She was a hoot.
Yeah,
I like when someone's interviewing me back. Like they ask questions. A lot of people don't ask questions, you know.
you get to know them better.
They have no interest in you. It's like, but sometimes it's fun. I had someone come on, he's like, he actually listened to some of the episodes. It was like, well, that's a refresh. So that's cool. Anyway, thanks everyone for coming. This was super fun. Thank you guys all for joining us.
Great show, guys.
Loved you all, and we'll see you next week. Actually, yes, if we may not be back next week, just so you know, I may have a thing I have to do. So if
What?
we maybe I'll post. I will
I'll
post.
run it
So-
for you.
We may be the back after, or Zach is going to run it.
Yeah,
for me.
I'll run it for you.
Okay. There we go.
All right.
And that has been another episode of Crossing the Streams. Join us every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, live on Facebook and YouTube. Follow the Jeff DeWaskin Show on YouTube to be alerted every time we go live with your hosts, Jeff DeWaskin, Ron Lippett, Howard Rosner, Bob Phillips, Sal D'Amelio. We're all in the socials. Follow us, listen to our podcasts, Classic Conversations, and the Sal and Bob Show. Check them all out, and we'll see you next week and every week when we cross more streams right here. See you then.